Okay, before we get started today, I should comment on the fact that my headphones are actively falling apart, and there is a good chance they will fall off of my head before this video ends. So,
Let's hope that they do for good
woo!
content. All right.
Mia, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about the brand new Phineas and Ferb movie that came out on Friday, Candace Against The Universe.
Okay.
So this is going to be our little review of the movie. We're both crazy Phineas and Ferb fans. Isaac a bit more than me, way more than me actually. But so we are very excited for this movie, and we're very excited to talk about this movie.
Before we start, I should comment on the fact me and Theo usually will talk about something a little bit before we review it. We have not spoke about this movie at all.
So I liked it. I did really like it. Here's the thing, I haven't seen Second Dimension in like forever, so I don't know how well I can compare it to it, because I just saw this one like literally yesterday, and I haven't seen Second Dimension for probably years. But I would say it's about as good. It may be a little less good, but like it's not like so bad that it's like a shame to the name.
Right. Second Dimension is a very good movie. This feels like a Phineas and Ferb episode that's longer and just like better. Like
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
spend more time on it. Rather than Second Dimension, which doesn't feel like a Phineas and Ferb episode, it feels like a movie.
Yeah, I think that would explain it. Like Second Dimension, that feels like that was released in theaters, wasn't it?
I
Or
don't know.
it was probably like a Disney Channel thing, but I think it was shown in some Second Dimension, I could see you going to like a theater to see, whereas
Right.
this movie, it feels like something that would either be like a Disney Channel original or like we got it a straight to Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it was still really, really
Yeah,
good.
it was still really good. Phineas and Ferb is really good. Like, I'm gonna
Um,
let you kick it off because you're the bigger Phineas and Ferb fan.
okay.
So,
Well, one thing I really enjoyed is there were lots of references to Phineas and Ferb past, like tons, so many. There was even a few references to Milo Murphy's Law, which I don't know if Theo's ever watched.
I know I didn't catch on to them. Julia, my sister, had to point some of them out to me because I've literally never seen it. So
Yeah, there were a few which I was like, I got that reference. Which,
it's like,
one thing, speaking of references, is there are a lot of fourth wall breaks in this. Like, there have always been fourth wall breaks in Phineas and Ferb, but this
yes,
one is like,
there's. I was really surprised by that. Like, like they even did the thing where they go to the storyboards and the producers, which is something they have done before,
right.
but it's
Um,
also really weird because I've been seeing like Dan on TikTok all the time. So it was weird to just see him on my TV. I'm like, that's the TikTok Phineas and Ferb man, not the real one.
Fuck Phineas and Ferb, man. Dr. Doofenshmirtz himself. Of course, all the fourth wall breaks were really funny. Like,
Yeah.
none of them fell out of place. They were all subtle-ish, but like oh my gosh.
Are
It
we
was
gonna
all
talk about the Doof Isabel's duet?
yeah, was not emotionally ready for that.
Like, okay, so they started singing the song, and I was like, okay, I know what this is gonna be. This is gonna be Doof versus all the kids. This is gonna be an everyone song. Everyone's gonna contribute to it. Instead, it was an Isabella Dr. Doofenshmirtz duet, which is something like I've never imagined would ever be a thing. Like, Doof singing with the kids. I'm like, yes, obviously they're traveling together, but
right.
just Isabella.
I thought it worked.
It did work. It's a good song, but like, if you had told me like the day before I saw the movie that Isabella and Doof were gonna have a duet, I would have like told you were crazy. I would.
But it worked.
It did work.
So, speaking of music, what was I going to say? I liked the song with Candace at the beginning.
Yeah.
where it's like her singing all happily while riding her bike, and then
I
they
also liked
said
when
that,
her and Vanessa randomly broke into song. Like, she
yeah,
starts singing and Vanessa starts playing guitar and then they stop. And Vanessa's like, how did I get this guitar?
that was really funny. Um,
It's really weird because, like, now, like, whenever I hear Vanessa, I can only think of Marceline from Adventure Time, which is so weird. Because, like, I obviously watched Phineas and Ferb before I'd seen Adventure Time. But, like, now that I'd, like, kind of seen both, I haven't seen all of Adventure Time, but, like, now that I know both characters, it's really weird hearing her speak.
right. Speaking of voice actors, am I allowed to bring this up?
Yes!
Thomas Sanders was like the reporter on the alien planet they were on.
Thomas Sanders was in this, which I didn't even
And
realize
I
when I
didn't
watched it.
no, I was watching the movie with Jason,
hmm
and Jason was like, "Hey Isaac, do you know who that is?" And I'm like, no." And he's like, "Yes, you do. Keep listening." Because I watch Sanders Sides. He knows that. I talk about it a lot. So he's like, "I know you know who this is. Who is it?" And sure enough, it was Thomas
It was.
Sanders.
I found out on TikTok this morning because I watched the movie and then today I'm scrolling through TikTok and I see Thomas Sanders showing it off and I was like, ah, that was him.
It was him,
It
yes.
was him.
Which was a fun little surprise.
Yeah.
Uh,
Also, the super, super big doctor, is that her name?
super big doctor. Um,
The Alien Queen! The
is that
main villain!
that's not what she's called, is
I
it?
am 99% sure that her name is Super, Super Big Doctor.
it
Go look it up. Go look it up right now.
I am.
Her name
Cut
was
ahead.
Super, Super Big Doctor. I remember, I was like, that's such a weird name. Well, she
Yeah.
was voiced by a comedian that I know, which I didn't even realize. But that was cool because, like, once I realized it, I was like, oh. So that was also cool.
Yeah, now I'm curious. I gotta look on like the cast. It is super big doctor.
I told you!
What kind of name is that?
Well, what kind of a name is Candace? That's the sound you make when you explode from the waist up.
From the ways down. I am convinced the only reason they included that is so they could have the scene of Candace mowing down people with the gun without her actually killing anyone. It was all
And
just
like
set up.
they really set that up well with the don't give them free stuff, they'll get excited and explode, so that at the end she could take the free t-shirt cannon and just like
Right.
gun them down.
Because that felt like just another Phineas and Ferb joke. Like it was
Yeah.
clever.
I also knew that the Remarkalonium whatever thing was just going to be like a normal human thing. Like when they said Candace was radiating with this stuff, I was like, oh, that's just going to be like a normal person thing that the aliens
Right.
don't have. And it was.
And
But
yeah.
science lesson. Okay, so they need Candace to fuel this plant because she breathes in oxygen and releases carbon dioxide.
Correct.
So apparently, this plant doesn't know that in order to be able to even exhale carbon dioxide, there's already carbon dioxide in the air. Clearly, they are on a planet with carbon dioxide in the air for
That
Candace to even
is
be able to exhale it.
how it
And
works.
super,
Yes.
super big doctor says that their species, they breathe in oxygen and exhale oxygen. What are they taking in? If you're just breathing in oxygen and releasing oxygen, your body isn't absorbing anything. Why breathe? Why
I
breathe?
say it's not like you breathe in oxygen and turn it into carbon dioxide. You breathe in both, take the oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide, correct?
Exactly.
Yes. Okay.
So it makes that made no sense because they set it up like it was science. It's science, carbon dioxide, but it's not. Because the
This is
plant would have been able to photosynthesize the carbon dioxide out of the air.
you do realize this is like the same show with like the platypus who fights crime and the the
Yeah, but
people
they
who
don't try to be scientific about that. They don't try to explain that. They tried to give us a reasonable explanation for this.
and you're just like, no. So at the beginning, they have Doof bringing the chicken thing, a nader, whatever
The
it's called.
chicken switcheroo-inator.
Yeah, and that's from a previous episode, and I assume that was just a funny reference. Like, oh look, it's a nader from a previous episode. No, it is like a
It
main
is
plot.
pivotal to the story.
One of my favorite jokes is when they're talking about the fact that the chicken on the planet is the closest one, and he just pulls out his accidentator, and he's like, accidents happen. And it
That
has a
was horrible.
self-content. His axe has
That was great. I think my favorite joke was Vanessa just posting selfies of her being stranded on an alien planet. And I was like, first of all, how's she getting reception? Second of all, like, she's like screaming and running away from things, but then we'll stop, look fierce, take a picture, and then upload it with like 4 different hashtags.
Right. Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do to get clout nowadays.
Yeah, it's for the clout.
I just want to say, the movie was just really funny. It was really good. The scene where they're like going faster than light and their reality starts breaking down.
That was a great.
It reminded me of the Amazing World of Gumball episode where something similar happens.
Oh yeah, that did happen in Gumball.
Where they lose all their money, so the animation budget goes down.
Yes,
so
that's exactly what happened.
Right.
And then it just cut to like the voice actors in the booth, I'm pretty sure.
Does this take place before or after the second dimension?
I don't know.
Because here's the thing. At the end of second dimension, does Doof get his mind erased as well?
I haven't seen that movie in years, Isaac.
Okay, true. But if he doesn't, then it doesn't make sense, and there's a continuity error. The scenes where Phineas and Ferb are saying, like, the name of the planet.
Like, really? That was
Terrifying.
creepy.
Nightmare-inducing. I fear Phineas and Ferb.
Yes.
Ferb was very talkative in this movie. Much more talkative than he normally is.
Yeah, here's the thing. In the trailer, when it shows Candace, like, flying off in the alien ship, Phineas and Ferb looking, and then Ferb pulling out his phone and taking a picture, I thought that was so weird. Like, when I watched the trailer, I was like, Ferb's just taking a picture, but then that's actually him, like, enhancing it to find out where she went. It's not just him being Ferb.
It would have been really weird if they just never, like, explained why
he just took a picture. Take a picture, it'll last longer.
He wants to get that clout on Instagram as well.
He does.
The whole scene with Jeremy and, Stacy was just
Jeremy does LARPing. Jeremy canonically goes LARPing.
He does. But then
he also keeps gas masks in his nacho taco whatever truck.
That too. But I expected that to like go somewhere, but no, they're just like
No, Jeremy just does LARPing.
He canonically does LARPing, and then that was the end of it.
Yeah.
He doesn't like use his medieval weapons to like help.
And Stacy's like, "Oh, are you preparing to fight off the aliens?" And he's like, "What aliens?" He's just sharpening a spear.
Yeah.
Phineas and Ferb's just really funny.
It is very funny and very odd.
Yeah.
Well, because like the creators, they always said their goal was to like create a show for adults that kids could watch too, rather than vice versa.
Exactly.
Which I feel like they delivered. Phineas and Ferb was very good. If you haven't watched Phineas and Ferb, get on that.
That's so sad. You need to watch it.
Why are you on this video? Why are you watching Dimension Bros, the lesser of...
I know.
Go watch
I feel like if they're this far in the video, they've seen Phineas and Ferb.
I really like the scene where Major Monogram's like, "You're the worst agent we could have sent on this mission. Anyway, bye!"
Anyway. Julia was like screaming. She was like, "Just send the panda!"
Right? Like, send anyone else.
Any other agent. You have all of these OWCA agents. Speaking of OWC agents, join our Discord. We have lots of different fandom roles for you to pick out. One of which is an OWCA agent to represent fans of Phineas and Ferb.
One down. One's fallen off.
That was the perfect time for it to fall off when I was plugging our Discord.
It was. Go join the Discord. It's great.
Yeah, I really liked the music, because the music in Phineas and Ferb is always really good. I've added it to my cartoons playlist. Because, like, a lot of, like, yeah, the music in this was really good. Just every time they started singing, I was like, yay.
Yeah. I've been watching Phineas and Ferb just whenever I'm bored because I have nothing else to watch. So, do it.
Because like, again, like, obviously cartoons with like an overarching story are very entertaining to watch, but like it's also just nice to have a show where it's like just any episode, just jump in and it's like you haven't missed anything.
Right.
Like, obviously, if like your first episode, Phineas and Ferb, you're gonna be very weirded out by everything, but like
Clearly. That
with
doesn't matter.
like
You can start halfway through season 3 or at episode 1. It's still just gonna be a weird
exactly
experience.
like with Avatar, if you jump in like Day of Black Sun Part 2, like that's not gonna be a very enjoyable viewing experience if you just want like one episode of something to watch.
That's such a specific episode.
I know, I was trying to think of like I just couldn't think of I'm just saying like shows with overarching stories are obviously important and should be made, but shows without overarching stories are also very good for like casual viewing, because not everyone's down to like watch like lists and piles of episodes at a time.
Right. Other than Phineas and Ferb, sometimes I'll like rewatch Steven Universe, but I can only ever rewatch episodes from season 1 because otherwise I'm jumping in the middle of a plot line and that's just a
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah.
So
Or
yeah,
like Gravity Falls.
anything
Like Gravity Falls, a lot of the episodes you can just like watch. But then there are some
right
where it's just like, wait, who's this Gideon kid? When did he show up?
where your boy Bill shows up and starts ripping
Imagine
out
if
a dude.
someone's first episode of Gravity Falls was Weird Mageddon.
Oh no.
They're like, what's this
Because
fun little mystery show? Oh God.
is it because Weird Mageddon Part 1 doesn't even start with Weird Mageddon starting. The previous episode starts Weird Mageddon.
Yeah.
Weird Mageddon
So
Part
you like
1
jump in and you're like,
Bill burning down the town, causing
Yeah.
chaos.
I
Yeah.
really liked how like the solution to everything was just like talking through your problems and finding the root source of what was making you sad inside. That was just funny.
The aliens' poor brothers. She just locked them up.
That was bad. That was bad. And then they made a ball and she just like destroyed it.
Well, you're like watching the movie, and at first you're like, okay, obviously she's probably gonna be evil, but like she's being very nice. And then they lead Phineas and Ferb to like this giant like great room, and you're like, okay, is there not gonna be any conflict in this? And then they get dropped into prison.
Yeah.
You're like, there we go.
Well, it kind of signified it to me if she was like, oh, you're radiating with remarkalonium or whatever. And I was like, oh, she's going to be really nice to Candace to lure her in, but then put her in some horrible way to suck this out of her. And that's exactly what happened, along with a bunch of other bad stuff.
Right. And of course, Candace is an idiot and is like, everyone on Earth can do that. Okay, the one thing that I thought was a little weird is turning the plant into a giant monster at the end.
Well, I just felt like if it, like, they wanted to obviously end it with, like, talking through your problems, but that's, like, a very anticlimactic ending.
So, giant monster.
So, it's Little Shop of Horrors time!
The true ending of Little Shop of Horrors. Not that.
Just being replaced with a chicken.
And poor Baljeet, every time he'd be like, oh, Space Adventure. And then they'd all just be like, Baljeet, shut up.
I have a theory that Phineas and Ferb built Isabel's sash so that it could hold, like, infinite badges. That's my theory, that she was like, I have too many badges and not enough sash. And they were like, we'll help you.
I liked the scene where Isabella gave, Doofenshmirtz, like, the badge. The get back to Earth badge.
I also like the scene where she was like, you see this badge? You don't want to know what I got it for. And then Phineas and Ferb are both just like simping very hard.
Isabella has canonically killed.
Isabella has a confirmed kill. It's the 1st-degree murder badge. My final thing that I want to say is I have a theory that they came up with the idea for the name Candace Against the Universe and then like tried to sprinkle in like a title drop at any given opportunity, because that's what it felt like to me, because like clearly during the writing process they knew the title of this film, because at any given moment where it was like even like possible for the characters to say against the universe, they did. It's kind of like how in Glee they named a character Jessie just so that they could have another character sing Jesse's Girl when Jesse takes his girlfriend. They literally just named the character that for the song. I don't know if
Great.
that's true, but I will believe it's true.
By the little bits I've heard about Glee, I've never watched it, but by the little bits I've heard, I believe it. Sure. You should go watch Milo Murphy's Law. It's on Disney Plus.
All right, all right.
It's
The only thing I know is that there's Pistachio Men.
yes. There are pistachio men.
I wasn't expecting a yes to that. Okay. All
It
right.
has like it's a very weird show. It has like time travel hijinks,
Well, okay. Well,
evil
I'll watch
pistachio
that.
men. But there's a Phineas and Ferb Milo Murphy's Law crossover. What is
Well,
happening
yeah,
out
they
there?
take place in the same like universe, don't they?
They both take place in Danville, just different tri-states, like different states of it.
Oh.
Which
Oh, that means there's
implies
going to be a third one.
we best be getting a third one in the third tri-state.
And they should cast us. We should voice the main characters.
We should.
This is our audition right now. Ready? Go.
Um,
Oh, Isaac. We must capture all the kittens to turn them into Christmas ornaments.
are we just Pinky in the Brain? Is this just Pinky in the Brain?
Yes.
But we must.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay. Let's wrap this video up. We're gonna end it 3 times.
This is getting so weird. All right.
Okay. Tune in this Thursday.
Tune in tomorrow for the first video for Pop Month.
My other headphone broke.
Isaac's so excited that he broke his headphones. September on Dimension Bros is Pop Tropica month. So tomorrow on September 1st, we'll be doing just a short little video outlining our plans for Pop Tropica month, other people's plans for Pop Tropica month. It's going to be very exciting. Look at Isaac's sad, defeated face.
Look at this. Why am I like this? Anyway,
so tune in tomorrow and all throughout September for awesome Pop Tropica videos.
Go join our Discord and go follow our solo channels. I make hilarious comedy videos.
He makes such funny videos. They're peak humor.
Theo's videos aren't that good. You don't have to go subscribe.
They're really not that good.
Go sub to me.
All right.
Okay.
That's Isaac. I'm Theo. We're gonna go drink some milk. Except for I'm not gonna drink some milk because milk is gross.
I'm gonna go drink some milk because I have weak bones. Peace out.